Well, I didn't go through the typical path that a lot of people do go. I was a funeral director and ran my funeral home, and probably for about 11 or 12 years, around that time, I decided that I wanted something more, and I decided that I wanted to go to law school.
When I was a little boy, a family member in a family gathering said, "This boy should be a lawyer." And I believe that there was actually a good reason for that person to say that, and it kind of got into my head. And as I grew up and went to school, I thought that I might become an international lawyer. At the time, I didn't know what that meant, and I still don't really know what it means either. But I just had that as a possible goal for a career as I grew up. I think that I first thought about becoming a judge when I received a call from someone that I knew who was a judge and suggested that I consider it. At that time, I wasn't ready. I still had goals that I wanted to accomplish in my practice. So I thanked him and I declined, but the thought stayed with me. And then a few years later, another judge that I was appearing before made the same suggestion. And this time I took it more seriously, and I started taking steps towards that end until ultimately I was able to be interviewed for the position.
I don't think I ever knew that I wanted to become a judge. I think it's something that just happens. It wasn't until I was asked if I would like to serve on a municipal court bench. And I thought about it, whether I should do it or not. My concern was I had these two businesses in my funeral home I had for a long time that I had built up, and I would have to give that up. And my law practice, which I was really starting to now build up, I would have to give that up. So it was hard to give up two babies that you had and start something new. When the opportunity came, I said, I think I'd like to try this. And I think one of the reasons, a basic reason, my children were getting older. I wanted to spend more time with them. Running two businesses, if I slept 2 or 3 hours a night. And so I think that was my major concern. And when the opportunity came along, I figured, let me take this opportunity because I don't know when I'd be asked again. Then when I had the opportunity to become a Superior Court judge, it was just an easy flow. My family, my children, wanting to spend more time with them. As I said, the funeral home business is 24 hours, 7 days a week. Even if you're on vacation, you're getting calls all the time, up 2 o'clock in the morning with phone calls. So I think it was probably basically my children, and I spoke with my family, my siblings, and they said if that's what I felt like, they were very supportive.
In the end, I think it was my father that really encouraged me to go ahead with it. I went to college, I graduated. Well, actually, before I graduated, I was thinking about it. I didn't have enough money to send the applications to the law schools, and I was talking about it with my father, and he said to me, "Why don't you go ahead? I'm going to give you the money so that you can apply to law school." So he kind of helped me out that way, and I did file the applications, and eventually I was accepted and went to law school. My parents were not affluent. They had a mom and pop hardware store, and so that was a challenge. But what became even a greater challenge is that my mother became very seriously ill while I was going to law school, and sadly she had to be going in and out of hospitals, and that had a big impact on me. Ultimately, she became so ill that my sister, my father, and I would take turns at home trying to take care of her, and I had to stop going to law school. for a while. So that was the main obstacle. But fortunately, you know, I eventually was able to finish it and get my degree.
Well, I became a single mother when my children were very young. So when my youngest one was entered into kindergarten, that's when I thought it would be a good time for me to start school. So it was very difficult trying to be a single parent, do what you need to do for your kids, running a business, going to school, and I did in 4 years. Passed the bar the first time. I figured I was getting too old. I had to do this one time. I think all judges are role models, not that that's what we start out to be, or I think that that's what we're going to be. I think if I was ever a role model, I always wanted to be a role model for my children, just like my parents were always role models for me. I think with being a judge, it comes with the title. I think we have a responsibility to the younger attorneys to show them that the ethics and integrity that we have for this position, and always maintaining that becomes very important. I'd never realized that I was really a role model to others, except that I was trying to do it for my children so they would grow up and do all the right things that you hope your children should do. Until I had a few ladies that came up to me and for school wrote papers that the topic was who was their role model, and they came to me and said they wrote about me, so I was very flattered by that.
I think that I can be a role model by way of encouragement, because it was such a long shot for me to get an education, to become a lawyer, and even to become a judge. It was unbelievable. My father, my mother, my sister, and I migrated to the United States when I was a teenager. Basically, we had the clothes on our back and we had to pay for the trip here, which we did pay. And so, you know, I didn't come from a wealthy family where there were other lawyers or other people that could help me. But God bless America. The American dream came true. And if it could come true for me, it could come true for anyone.